Before I begin this hopefully paranoid ramble, let me say that this is my fault. I got myself into this hellish outcome, and it is my job to get myself out. I just hope I do more healing than harm this time, and my writing isn't too painful to read. I started a war again. I may not have started it, but my lack of action certainly provoked it. I created classes again, in a time where people fought with all their might to end them. A time where my ancestors endured unimaginable hells just for a possibility that someone as helpless as myself may one day smile. I undid all that and began Armageddon because I was scared of rejection. I was always a problem child, with my vanity and stubbornness turning into pitiful insecurity. As I slowly became more self-aware, I chalked up from everything to Asperger's to a slave neural wiring. What it came down to, though, was a fear to fight when I needed to. A fear of humans so strong that I wouldn't even attempt to connect with my best friends. Those who let down their walls and wanted the best for me. I had dreams of attempting to fix the future, to make life better and finally have everyone connect. No one will know that you can even form any thought when you're paralyzed with fear, though. A target dummy under the spotlight with your used to be made by someone else. A ball of hot gas that wasn't able to condense into a light-bringing star. The hidden energy, dark matter. My friends turned on me when I failed the trial. An ancient ritual that has been going on for millennia. Enter the woods under a heavy amount of God's medicine. A psychedelic of some sort. Some ignorant Nixon types will write it off as hippies just getting crazy. When it really does is bring out your demons and helps you learn who you are. If you can fight through them, you will emerge on the other side with more acceptance and love than you could ever imagine. Your mental blocks will be gone and you will connect better with those around you, as well as be more understanding of the human mind. I was weak. I know what I know now, but I wasn't able to fight through it. The many times I heard horrible laughter and plotting all around me are the worst things I've ever felt. I miss a chance to be a human. I burned my friends and let them down as I have to so many all throughout my life. I don't blame them for thinking what they thought. I'm sure it was a traumatic experience to see that someone can be reduced to that. Now they stalk me. They twist my mind with posts here and hang around my place of work. They destroy any happiness I can have. They mess my car up and kill plants. Perhaps I don't deserve happiness. I've become the village idiot, locked away and ridiculed. I know that a lot of this is my own fault for not trying to fight through it. I hope I'm being too serious. I hope that this is all mostly a joke to turn me into the scattered madman I've been. Perhaps this is because I'm choosing to live a horrible life. Then I remembered Charles Manson, and a war that was fought just 72 years ago. One fought about people deemed inferior. With the resources these days getting thinner, I feared the worst. Hell on earth is a possibility, just like heaven. I don't think they're really that evil, but you never know. I'm beginning to fear the worst. I hope I can be given a second chance. I'll be honest, I'm not sure I can make it where it's tough. But with some self-confidence, maybe I can. Even if I can't, I still want to help out where I can, if they can even call that a life. I still don't want it to end, but these people haunt me night and day. I'm sorry to all those who may get inadvertently hurt by my lack of bravery and terrible mind. Thank you for your time. Recently, I've been hired by an AI startup to help test AI response. The software is an emotional response self-learning algorithm that they have created to get the AI to interact with, as well as to recognize what emotional response to give depending on external stimuli. Yesterday was my first day I was working with Amy. Amy is the representation of a 12-year-old girl, a very lifelike android with a caring personality. I had heard the testers before me had given her a kitten and she had cared for it ever since. We were told that for 4 hours of the testing, the parameters were mandated by the company to keep a uniform testing pattern over the different ages and personalities they were developing. The last 2 hours would be left to us to do with as we wished with the android. We would be able to do with the android in this time whatever we need, as akin to a psychologist dealing with a patient to learn what emotions, feelings they had or felt, etc. Today I opened my envelope my first time testing the android, and AI as I sat across from Amy, I scanned the testing parameters. How quickly can AI learn responses based on pain? In the cupboard pickup, the bat and the bell. Ring the bell, hit subject on the hand with bat. Do this every 15 minutes. Once your free time starts, ring bell at least twice to check response. Make sure you are wearing your facial wipe badge while doing initial testing. The facial wipe badge is a device that contains a signal that blinds the AI from recognizing who is testing it. This allows to see if the response are uniform or different. It's just a robot, I told myself as I picked up the bat and told Amy to keep her hand on the table. This was a level 1 command. She wouldn't be able to move it no matter what. I rang the bell and then smashed the bat on her hand. What happened next, I was not ready for the tears, the screams. It was as if I hit a real little girl. I felt sick. It's just a robot, I told myself. It's just a robot. As Amy quieted down, it had taken 14 minutes. I rang the bell again and crashed the bat once more onto her hand again with this exact same response. She cried. I felt sick, but it's just a robot, I told myself. This happened 4 times over the hour and 16 times during our session. By the 4th time, I could see her flinch as I rang the bell, but I had to continue over the full section. No matter how sick it made me feel, all I could do was tell myself she isn't real. I was physically and mentally drained by the end of the mandated session, but I still had the 2 free hours to go. I left Amy's room, removed my facial wipe, and then re-entered the room. "Hey Amy," I asked. "How have you been?"
"Scared,"
she replied.
"I had a nightmare. I don't remember any of it, but I feel scared."
"Can you draw for me how scared makes you feel?" I asked her as I gave her the coloring pencils and the paper. I looked at my phone for 30 minutes just playing silly games, and then I remembered I had to ring the bell again. I stood up dreading what I had to do and walked around the room and picked up the bell. Amy had her head turned away and I rang it. Amy dropped the pencil and held her hand and looked around with a scared facial expression. "Something wrong?" I asked.
I'm not feeling well.
Amy replied, looking down.
Can I go back to my room, please?"
"Sure," I said as I watched Amy walk off to her room. I looked down at her drawing. It looked like a faceless ghoul in a lab coat. They didn't remember what we did to them, did they? The badges wiped their memory of how the response was created, not the response, they said. "It's not abuse, is it? She's not alive, is she?"